Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kindness Rising. Jess is in the house. I appreciate you. First one in this morning, Jess. Glad you're here. Hope you're doing great today. This is Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. And we are live every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern to get you started. And this is week two of Without a Net, and our topic is speaking truth with love. Yesterday's lesson was trust before truth, and today we're searching for the light in strange places. So let's rise together. Absolutely. Good morning, Mike Sullivan. I am glad you are here too. All right. Looks like we're having a little private party today, but that's okay. I appreciate you, and I will just keep rolling. That's good. That's good. Here's what we're going to talk about today. There is a big difference between the words someone speaks and the story we tell ourselves about those words. Sometimes the truth is out there. There is a difference. Strangers of places, if you look at it right. That's our theme. Absolutely, Jess. That is it. Scarlet, Begonias is the song of the week. All right, let's try that over. I'll try not to flub it up again. There is a big difference between the words someone speaks and the story we tell ourselves about those words. Sometimes the truth arrives clearly. Sometimes it arrives awkwardly. Sometimes it comes from someone we didn't expect. And sometimes the light has been there all along, but we can't see it until we look again. All right. Good morning. What is shaking, Keith? I am glad you are here too. We are doing a little follow-up for the yesterday from the famous fast food joke situation. If I can get my music on here somewhere along the way. There it is. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are doing a follow-up. Yep, yesterday we left the 12-year-old Matthew standing in the wreckage of his first comedic performance. I had delivered the joke with complete confidence. My father cleared his throat and gave me a direct review. The joke didn't work. Do not repeat. Do not make yourself sound stupid. That last word had stayed with me. Stupid. Words like that can grow inside of a child's imagination. I don't remember asking my dad what he meant. I don't remember saying, "Are you telling me I'm not funny?" I don't remember investigating, well, what was his intent? I just listened and I absorbed my interpretation. Excuse me. The person whose laugh in that moment mattered most didn't laugh. Case closed. But as I got older, something interesting happened. I kept telling jokes and kept making up stories and creating characters and using humor in classrooms and in conference rooms, presentations, live streams, and difficult conversations. Apparently, the 12-year-old comedian hadn't been completely destroyed. He was bruised, but he was very much alive. And I began looking at that conversation a little different. My father didn't say, "Matthew, you're not funny." He said, "I don't get it." He didn't say you should never tell another joke. He said I shouldn't repeat that one. Those are very different messages. One attacks the person, the other evaluates the material. At 12, I couldn't separate the two. The joke, that moment felt like a part of me. So when the joke was rejected, I felt rejected. We do that as adults too, though. Someone questions our idea and we hear them questioning our intelligence. Someone critiques our work and we hear them critiquing our worth. Someone says that our presentation needs some improvement and we hear that we don't belong at the table. The feedback may be about one thing, but our fear translates it into something much larger. I'm not going to tell you everything that moment of the joke eventually came to me, and we still have a lot more of that story to uncover. But today I can tell you this. The first light appeared when I stopped asking, why did my father reject me? And started asking, what if he wasn't rejecting me at all? Sometimes the light doesn't appear because someone changes the words. Sometimes it appears because we become willing to look at those words again. All right. Absolutely. We do look at those words again and again, and we are looking at the strangest of places. Motivation to make better jokes. Yeah, Yeah, exactly. There you go. That should have been what it was. To me, it was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I can't keep pace with my dad, I guess. Anyway, who who in the world are we going to talk about today? We do every day 3 clues throughout the episode to let you guess who we are speaking of today. And it is our first clue right here. There it is. I can't read it yet. Born on this day in 1912. He was named after the governor of New Jersey, who would later become the president of the United States. Born in 1912, named after the governor of Jersey, who would later become the president of the United States. All right, more clues are coming. But first, we need to get to our kindness spotlight. We always spotlight organizations that are doing good work for good people. And today is no different. Absolutely. Let's get to our spotlight. Today we're taking it local again. I appreciate everyone out there listening from other places, but right here in the southern tier, we have an organization called Accord. Accord. Not a Honda Accord. Accord, a Center for Dispute Resolution. It's the Center for Dispute Resolution that's based right here in Binghamton and serves our community. Their work is built around a simple but powerful belief. Conflict does not always have to end with winners and losers. Sometimes people need a space where they can slow down, be heard, and begin understanding what's actually underneath that disagreement. Accord promotes peaceful alternatives to conflict through mediation, training, advocacy, and other dispute resolution services. My tongue is tied all over. That is Accord right here in Binghamton. If you're from Binghamton, check them out. Support their organization, because whatever the dispute is about, we don't have to all disagree and make everything a fight. A skilled mediator can help people look again, not necessarily to agree on everything and not pretend that the conflict didn't happen, but to search for the light that may be hidden inside of a very difficult conversation. That is our friends from Accord here in Binghamton. And that's the end of our spotlight. How's it going out there? What's going on in the chat? Come on, people, say hello. What's happening? We are rocking and rolling here on the Mornings in the Lab and at Kindness Rising this morning. We are continuing to develop our programs. We are continuing to develop our products, and we're here for you. Absolutely. All right. Let's talk a little bit about wait. That happened today, July 14th, July 1789. Do we know what happened July 14th, 1789? Citizens of Paris stormed the Bastille. We remember the event as one of the defining moments of the French Revolution. Well, what we know exactly happened is that there was a medieval fortress and prison. It only held 7 prisoners at the time. The crowd was not attacking it to try to release a bunch of people, but more importantly, the Bastille had become a symbol of royal power and arbitrary imprisonment. So under economic pressures, public trust in the monarchy was collapsing, political tension was rising, and many people feared that the king might use the military force to crush the emerging National Assembly and silence demands for reform. When the crowd moved against the Bastille, negotiations gave way to violence. Nearly 100 attackers were killed, but the fortress eventually fell. Its governor was captured and killed, and the event became a powerful symbol that royal authority could be challenged. Absolutely. Revolutions often begin with a legitimate truth that something is deeply wrong. But identifying what is wrong does not automatically tell us how to make it right. It can also become destructive when people stop seeing that there's humanity on the other side. So why do people still discuss the Bastille? Because it represents both possibility and warning, right? It reminds us that ignored grievances don't simply disappear, and when leaders refuse to hear difficult truths, the pressure builds. When people believe their voices no longer matter, conflict moves somewhere else, sometimes into the streets. But it also reminds us that tearing down a symbol is easier than building a fair and lasting system in its place. Absolutely. What can we learn? Listen before frustration becomes fury. And remember that courageous change requires more than identifying an enemy. I got my mix all talked up today, for sure. Okay, well, sometimes it happens. I'm wearing the tooth, Mom. The tooth sometimes makes me. You're welcome. Aw. Stay cool and safe. Yep. Good morning. Why am I wearing Grandma's scarf? Niner wants to know. This isn't Grandma's scarf. This is my Grateful Dead headband. If you look really closely, there's dancing bears and other interesting Grateful Dead symbolism in it. And I wear my headband every day because I like it. I like the way it looks. That's why. It's not my grandma's scarf. If it was my grandma's scarf, that would be freaking cool if my grandmother had a Grateful Dead bandana and wore it as a scarf. I miss my grandma. Anyway, clue number 2. Moving on, let's get a clue together. Born on this date in 1912, he was named after the governor of New Jersey, who would later become POTUS. Clue number 2, he became known for writing songs about the lives of ordinary people and fighting fascism. Born on this date, Jersey POTUS, writing songs about ordinary people and fighting fascism. All right, let's keep it rolling. All right. This tooth is killing me. Research corner. All right. Research again? Come on, dude. No. Everything that we do is backed by something. I'm not just here blathering about holidays and birthdays and everything else. I like to talk about things that are helpful to us and helpful to business, continuing to build on the Without a Net brand and content for businesses who are looking for help with teamwork and emotional intelligence and creating psychologically safe spaces and how to have tough conversations and those kind of things, because that's what I do. I can help you with that. All right. Research corner, Kim Scott and Radical Candor. Does anybody out there know Radical Candor? Radical Candor. It's been out there in the works. You might know it when I flash the model. Anyway, here's the deal. The research tells us what's true. Without a Net helps us put it to work. Yesterday, Patrick Lencioni helped us understand why trust must come before truth. Today, Kim Scott helps us understand what honest care looks like. We're talking about her Radical Candor framework. That's what I'm trying to do. There I am. Hi, everybody. Yep, her Radical Candor framework is built on 2 basic ideas: how much you care personally and how much you challenge directly. Pretty simple model, but thought-provoking. You have to have both. You have to be able to care personally and challenge directly, because care without challenge sounds like this. I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I won't say anything. The mistake continues, the frustration grows, and eventually someone says, I thought everybody knew. That's ruinous. Oh, you can't see my mouse. All right, I'm learning. That's ruinous empathy. That's the upper left-hand corner. Unable to care, or you care so deeply that you fail to challenge directly. It feels kind, but it withholds the truth someone needs in order to grow. Then there's challenging without care. That we might hear something like, I was just being brutally honest. The person may be direct, but they use truth like a weapon. It's not candor, it's aggression. Radical candor, that lives where care and challenge meet. right here, upper right-hand corner. And people say things like, I respect you enough to say it clearly, not you're a disaster. But this part of the work is not meeting the standard yet. Not you never listened, but when you interrupted 3 times in today's meeting, the team stopped contributing. Specific observation, useful information, no character attack. And on the receiving side, we have work to do too. What if the feedback comes from someone we find difficult? What if the delivery is imperfect, but there's still something useful inside of it? We don't have to accept every criticism as truth, but we can stay curious enough to ask, is there anything here worth seeing? Because once in a while, you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. That is the research. The research. You don't what, Jess? I don't. You don't. I don't know what I said. Constructive criticism versus a critical judgment. Absolutely. Absolutely, another way of putting it. But I like these little models, little things, this idea of quadrants. Apparently I do, because I did the Johari window last week. Apparently we're doing radical candor quadrant this week. All right, let's take it back. Let's take it back to the story of my father's response. I don't get it. I wouldn't repeat it. You don't want to sound stupid. Was that a perfect example of modern feedback? No, there was no feedback sandwich, no carefully designed coaching framework. It was a tired father at the end of a 12-hour workday. I was a 12-year-old telling a wildly inappropriate joke. This was not a leadership seminar. It was a life, and real feedback often arrives imperfectly. The timing may be off. The tone may carry some frustration. The person may see something true but struggle to say it well. That creates 2 different questions. Was the feedback delivered well? And is there something useful inside it? Poor delivery matters. Words certainly can damage people, and leaders have a responsibility to speak carefully. But if we reject every message that's delivered imperfectly, we may miss something we need. The light is not always carried by someone holding a polished lantern. Sometimes it's carried through a mistake or a rival or an uncomfortable question. Maybe an employee who sees the customer more clearly than the leader does, or a father who doesn't laugh at your joke. The practice is not to believe every critic. It's to investigate before dismissing them. What did they actually say? What meaning did I add? What part was about the work? What part did I make about me? And is there any useful truth here? My father's message contained a lesson I was too young to name. Know your audience. A message is not successful simply because we enjoy delivering it. Communication is measured not only by intention, but by impact. Does the audience understand? Does the material fit the room? Is the right message? Is this the right message for the people? At 12, I heard, "You're not funny," but that wasn't what he said. He challenged the joke, not the voice behind it. That's a very different lesson, and it applies directly to leadership. When someone challenges your idea, do not abandon it immediately, but do not assume they are simply too foolish to understand it either. Get curious. Ask what did not connect. Ask what they heard. Ask what they think you are missing. The strongest leaders do not protect every idea as though it were a part of their identity. They let the room improve the work. And the Grateful Dead, they did this every night. When the music drifted in a direction that wasn't working, the band just responded in real time. The bass line shifted or the drummer moved around a little bit. The guitar suggested another path. The feedback lived right in the music. Said, try this. Listen here. I got your back. I'm with you. Let's find the song again. That's what great feedback cultures do. They do not prevent every wrong note. They help people find the next right note. Once in a while, you get shown the light in the strangest of places, but only if you're willing to look. Thank you. All right. Criticize the message, not the messenger, Sully. I got you 100%. All right. Anyone got an idea on our clue for today? Or get a clue? We are continuing to rock this. All right. Born on this date in 1912, he was named after the governor of New Jersey, who would later become POTUS. Clue number 2. He became known for writing songs about the lives of ordinary people and fighting fascism. I believe it was printed on his guitar. I think you're thinking of a folk singer too, Jess. The last clue, the clincher. This land is your land. It is. Do we know our mystery person today? This land is, there he is. Boom, Sully, boom, Woody Guthrie. Yep, it is Woody Guthrie. It sure is. But first, before we talk about Woody Guthrie, because we can, and we will, my guess is that Jess is a Woody Guthrie fan, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kindness compass. We got to do that. All right. Every day on Kindness Rising, we move from thought to action, taking what we're talking about in the topic and just putting it to work a little bit, finding useful truth, even when it arrives from an unexpected place. Separate the message from your first reaction. When feedback stings, pause before defending yourself. Write down what was actually said, then write down what you heard as the meaning. They may be two different things. Number 2, ask for one specific example. Vague feedback creates confusion. Specific examples create choices. Ask, can you show me where you noticed that, or what would better look like to you? Turn judgment into information that you can use. And lastly, number 3, look for the 2%. You don't have to accept the entire criticism, but before throwing it away, ask, is even 2% of this true? That small piece might be the light. You can reject the exaggeration and still learn from the useful part. Just separate the message from the reaction, ask for specifics, and look for the 2%. That is today's Kindness Compass. All right. Absolutely, Woody. All right, cool. July 14th, 1912 in Oklahoma, where Woody Guthrie was born. All right, I just went off the rails. He traveled through the country writing songs about workers, migrants, poverty, injustice, family, and the American landscape. His music influenced generations of artists, especially guys like Dylan and Springsteen and women like Joan Baez and countless others who believed his song could carry both beauty and truth. Of course, people know This Land Is Your Land is a cheerful, patriotic song. But the truth is, his fuller version questioned whether America was living up to its promise for everyone during the Depression and the Dust Bowl. That's our lesson. Again, sometimes the familiar song can contain a harder truth, and sometimes the light has been there the whole time, but we have only been singing the comfortable verses. Happy birthday, Woody Guthrie. Yeah. All right. What are your Woody Guthrie stories? There we go. Boom. Arlo, Further, 97. Me too. Yep. I was there as well. I saw Arlo, of course. I mean, we can talk about Woody. We can talk about Arlo. I actually grew up more as a Arlo, Alice's Restaurant. We listened to it too. I think you're either are a person who does that on Thanksgiving or you are not. Our family absolutely does. We have a 30-minute ride between my house and my mother's house, and it is where we typically have Thanksgiving, and at least, especially when the kids were young, religiously. It was just our tradition. The kids got to know it and love Alice's Restaurant. And This Land Is Your Land. Yep. It's awesome. Cool beans. All right. So yeah, here we are talking about Without a Net. I appreciate that everyone is listening to this. I'm wondering if it's landing with people. I know it's a little different direction for our show, but it's something that I'm I'm building live here. And testing this thing out. I know from my experience, 30 years, going on close to 30 years of experience in lots of team-based environments in different industries and different worlds, that this, to me, lack of psychological safety and the ability for people to communicate openly, honestly, with authenticity, with vulnerability-based trust, and the other radical candor, those concepts that we talk about. I've seen it, I've experienced it. I've experienced it when it doesn't exist, when it's all a show, and it's not fun. It's not fun, and also, more importantly, it's counterproductive. So much time wasted by people trying to hide something or be something that they're just not, or that they have a question and they don't ask it, and then they go ask it somewhere else in the parking lot or in a text chain. Holy crap, did you hear what he said? And all that kind of stuff. I've been on those text chains. I've started those text chains, honestly. But I've also learned that it's better to find a way to ask the question. Maybe you don't ask it the way you would in the text chain. That's hard to say with a prosthetic device in your mouth. Arcade Ambulance, welcome in. Am I married? I am. 20-something years, absolutely. Not sure why it's significant for here, but that is true. I've learned a lot in my marriage that I apply here. Absolutely. All right. What else we got today? What are we thinking about? What's happening? I'm trying to think. I am looking forward. What am I looking forward to today? Continuing to do some work and developing my program, but I'm going to spend some more family time. We've got a little chance, these rare opportunities to spend a little family time together. So later on today, we'll be hanging out. We'll be hanging at the lake. It's going to be hot. All right. Well, you don't need to know about my blathering. Let's wind it up and wind on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. Keep joining us here on the network, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, every weekday morning. Come check out the channels like Kindness Rising. Subscribe here if you're out there and you haven't yet. How about It Starts With Joy with Cheryl Raphael Whitaker? Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. Let's talk supply chain. Oh, taking the puppy swimming, Jess's. That'd be a great name for a show. Taking the puppy swimming with Jess. You know, Jerry Ginger, he's in here all the time. That's what he does. He goes live with his dogs. He just walks his property, showing the sunset, chatting, showing his fun gardens. He doesn't even show himself. He just walks around with the camera pointed out and talks. He speaks. It's a good man. Good man. Check out Jerry Ginger's channel if you get a chance. All right. This is it. Let's pull it all together in one little thread. Pull the thread. Pull the thread. This is Pull the Thread. Let's pull the thread together. Yesterday, the 12-year-old comedian heard rejection. Today, the adult began listening again. My father did not say you have no voice. He said this material is not working with this audience. Was the delivery perfect? No. But inside was a lesson that would shape everything I eventually did as a communicator. Know the room. Pay attention to impact. Never confuse one joke that failed with a voice that has no value. That is the light in the strange place. It doesn't always arrive gently. It doesn't always come from the person we expect, and it doesn't always make sense the first time we see it. Tomorrow, we're going to continue the story with translating the truth, because between what one person says and what another person hears, an entire world of interpretation appears. Absolutely. Thank you again for joining me here on Kindness Rising. Now get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, friends. Take your puppy swimming, do your work, keep smiling, stay uncommon, and stay kind.